The trial for Chapter 3. Finally, we're doing that. Everyone had heard Monokuma's proclamation, and they were gathered by the red door. We're all gathered there. And as soon as we were all there...
Monokuma!
Hello! He's multiplied?
Wrong.
Nope, not multiplication. He just looks that way because of an illusion. I'm moving so fast and it looks like I'm multiplied. Yeah, try again. Try again, good sir. Can you guys tell which one is the real Monokuma? Can we just get get on the elevator already?
Boy,
you're not playing along.
Stop talking.
We're not here to play with you. Okay, fine. I'm glad he ended that quickly. Did he end it quickly?
Hey!
Then, if everyone's here and ready to go, please board the pain train or elevator. I'll see you guys down there.
Let's go.
Okay, then, shall we?
Please!
Hold on! I'm not mentally prepared yet!
What the heck?
You'll never be mentally prepared! You can't run away anymore, hero! You're gonna pay for your sins!
What the heck?
I told you already! I didn't do this! We're serious! That reminds me. Did you ever find the other costume or the note? Well, no, but... Oh, hero! You're making this worse for you! How unfortunate. Then it would seem our culprit. No!
Hey.
This isn't the place to talk about it. Save your accusations for when we get to the courtroom.
That's right.
She's right. Let's get down there first. Then the story can really begin. Yeah, good idea. That's right. I have to do it. I can't let whoever killed Tifumi and Taka get away with it. For everyone who's still alive, and for those two who lost their lives, goddamn! The one who killed Tifumi and Taka, the one who killed two of our friends, the killer is someone right here in this room! I took one last deep breath and exhaled slowly. I began to walk towards the elevator. Once everyone was aboard, the doors closed on their own, and the steel box began to move. The clunking of the elevator kept us company as we fell further and further down. There was no going back. Until we settled all this, we couldn't go anywhere. I'm not sure how long it was before the elevator finally came to a stop. The elevator doors slid open, opening up into a cruel fate. When I see all of you have gathered together like this, I realize how few of you there are left. Your school life is slowly reaching its climax.
Just the worst.
Only because of you. Why? Why are you making us do such cruel things to each other?
What?
What? Do you really hate me so much? But I'm so cute.
Come on.
Stop goofing around and begin the trial. Don't push me. Of course I'm going to start it. I would never be like, stay tuned for the next action-packed class trial after this commercial break. I never hold out on you like that. Okay, let's begin. Get to your assigned seats. And so the curtain opened once again. A deadly judgment, a deadly deception, a deadly betrayal, a deadly riddle, a deadly defense, a deadly faith, a deadly class trial. Set skills. I unlocked 2 more skills. I'm getting these. Or did I not? I thought I unlocked in 2 more. Is raise not a... Raise is not a skill I can use in this. Damn it. That's sad. Trial, all rise!
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate.
Well, thank you for repeating yourself every single time.
Now then, to begin with...
We already know who did it!
Was that?
It was Hiro. He does not have an alibi for when the murders took place, and he found them in that suit.
But no!
Don't try and deny it! You killed them!
I didn't! Someone knocked me out! I was asleep the whole time! I don't know anything about it!
Shut your murdering mouth, murderer!
Who are you calling a murderer?
Serial killer calls person a murderer.
I am sorry to say, Hiro, but we do have evidence. Blueprints for the suit. Parts we assume were used to build it. And all of it was found in your room. You have to admit, the evidence is quite compelling. It points to you as having created the suit and wearing it while committing crime after crime.
How many times do I have to tell you? I don't know, I don't know!
Aww. Is Hiro really the killer, or... For anything else, we have to make that clear. Make your arguments.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough.
I'm concerned. Okay.
That you are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff! It's not true, it's a conspiracy!
Alrighty.
Why? Why did you kill them?
I think it's the blueprints I gotta hit.
Just hold on a second!
Compelling evidence that Hiro is the killer. Is that really true?
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
Damn it!
I don't know anything about that stuff! It's not true, it's a conspiracy!
We're gonna try again.
Why did you kill?
No! Just hold on a second!
I know what it is.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
I keep missing. I hate this part.
No! Just hold on a second!
Compelling evidence that Hiro is the killer. Is that really true?
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
I clicked the wrong button. I'm sorry.
Hiro, what?
No!
I want my aim. I want my shooting button to be 1.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough.
No, that's wrong!
Are we sure Hiro really made those blueprints?
What do you mean?
Well, take a look at this. It's the note that Hiro wrote, asking everyone to meet up after Alter Ego disappeared. The handwriting's obviously different, wouldn't you say? When you compare it to the blueprints.
There's no way you could think the same person made both of them.
Unless that person made it a point to disguise their handwriting.
No, the differences are bigger than that, I think.
Come on! I'm not smart enough to think of trying to change my handwriting anyway.
Oh, you just dissed yourself, buddy!
So Makoto, are you saying you don't think Hiro's the culprit?
And he is not the only one. I think Hiro is innocent as well.
Interesting.
Then who was in that Robo-Justice suit? Is it like Hiro said? Was there really someone running around in a second suit?
I don't think anybody
The
was running around in a
suspicious
suit.
individual hidden within the suit. Go ahead, Makoto. Tell
I
them
still
who
think
it was.
Hiro. I still think it was Hiro. Of course he passes it off to me.
Who was in the Robo-Justice suit?
Someone who was unconscious this entire time?
I got it! Other than Hiro, I can't think of anyone else it could have been. Obviously, he was the one in that particular suit. And we never found any kind of second suit.
Then there can be no doubt. Hiro is the prime suspect.
That doesn't make any sense. You just said Hiro didn't do it.
It makes perfect sense. Hiro was the suspicious individual in the suit, but he's not the culprit.
So what you're saying is...
That's right. The culprit in this case has nothing to do with being in the Robo-Justice suit.
What? Now that's a bold assumption. And what reason do you have to make such a statement? You do have a reason, yes?
Of course. But before we get to that, there's something else we need to clarify first. So let's get that out of the way.
Hey, stop trying to boss us around!
All things have a proper order.
I can't argue. Pinocchio is totally in the right at the moment.
So what is it? What needs to be clarified?
We must clarify the method of transportation for Taka's lifeless body. It would seem that his corpse was moved using certain particular items. Makoto, can you tell us what they were?
Totally just pass it off to me, dude! The things that were used to move Taka's body?
I got it!
There's still one more thing.
I got it! They were a dolly and a tarp, right?
Shut up! What's with
So,
that attitude?
let's see if I can explain. Taka's body disappeared from the equipment room, and then we rediscovered it in the repository. And when we found it for the second time, it was wrapped in a blue tarp, right? It was the same tarp that, up until then, was stored in the equipment room.
I love how we just have
So
to
the
walk
killer must have
everyone
seen
through
it then,
this.
and decided to use it when they moved Taka's body. That way, they wouldn't leave any bloodstains while they were moving it.
Okay, that explains the tarp. And the dolly?
Same thing. I'm sure the dolly was in the equipment room when we first found Taka's body there. But when the body disappeared, so did the dolly. Later, when Taka's body reappeared in the repository, so did the dolly.
In other words, you think they used the dolly to move the body. Am I right? But are you sure you are not mistaken?
No, I'm not. That dolly's got bloodstains on it. Go screw yourself.
Huh?
Are you absolutely positive the dolly was in the equipment room when we found Taka's body? That dolly was made specifically
You're
for
really
moving large
suspicious,
objects between
Celeste.
the
I am so
repository
blaming
and the
you on
office.
this.
It would be very strange indeed to discover it had made its way to the equipment room. Is it not possible that it was in the repository all along, and you simply didn't realize it?
Screw you!
She's raised an objection. How do you respond?
That's how I
There is
respond.
no shame in being wrong, and nobody expects much from you anyway.
I'm sorry, who was the one who solved the last two cases? I think that was me.
We have all accepted the fact that you rarely understand what is going on around
Oh! Oh, you flippin' finger nugget! Wow, I've never heard anyone sound so nice while being so mean. But maybe I can change your mind. if I can just explain to them why the dolly must have been moved from the equipment room to the repository. A new element has been added to bullet time battles. Explain, damn it! Let's talk about reloading. Starting with the next bullet time battle, we're going to add one more ingredient to the recipe. On the bottom screen, underneath the tempo marker, you'll see your ammo count. Up until now, there hasn't really been a limit on how you destroy your opponent's statement. But from now on, just logging on it and pressing the triangle button won't be enough to handle them. Damn it! That was already hard enough! Now it will cost you 1 bullet to destroy a single remark. Once you run out of bullets, you can't destroy any more statements, no matter how locked on you are. However, you can reload by pressing the square button. Just like logging on, you'll have to press the square button in time with the tempo marker. Damn it. Basically, just remember that the square button now has a function along with X. And the square button, you will automatically reload at the start of fever time, and your ammo will not decrease. But if your action difficulty is set to gentle, you won't have to reload at all. I feel like I need to reset this action difficulty. This is getting ridiculous. In which case, you can ignore everything I just said. Well then, good luck and have fun. Hug.
You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Do your worst. You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Do your worst. You miserable wretch. You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree.
This should prove it.
Thank God I did that right! That was horrible. I hate this. I hate that minigame.
If you're asking for proof that the dolly moved, I have it right here.
I hate that minigame so much. If you're asking for...
When I found the dolly in the repository, one of the wheels had a blood stain on it. There was a pool of blood in the equipment room with a tire mark in it that matched the dolly wheel's tread. The killer probably rolled the dolly through the blood on accident. As they wheeled the body out of the room, and as the blood dried on the tire, they moved the body into the repository. So there's my proof that the dolly was used to move Taka's body.
Jeez, does Celeste really hate me that much?
Well, anyway, that was just something we had to get out of the way. Let's get back to the main subject.
Yeah, the subject of how Robo-Justice didn't do it. Because if it's not a killer robot, then what kind of robot is it?
I'm not sure that really matters.
I'd be happy to explain why the occupant of the suit couldn't possibly be the killer. If you look back on how the body was transported, it will become immediately...
I know. If I look at how the body was moved, it'll be clear why the person in the suit couldn't have done it. What does he mean by that? Make your argument.
As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment room. And from there, the body was moved to the repository, correct?
Yeah, the culprit wrapped the body in the tarp, then loaded it onto the dolly and wheeled it off, right?
Now, keep in mind that the dolly doesn't have a handle.
Well, yeah, but even without a handle, all you'd have to do is bend over.
No, it's wrong. You're absolutely right that you could push a dolly without a handle if you stoop down low. But if you were wearing that suit, do you think you could actually get into a position like that?
What do you mean?
Think back to what you said when we were all checking out the suit together.
I can't see my feet at all. I'm surprised you got anywhere in this thing. I'm telling you, it wasn't me. And not to mention, you totally can't bend at the waist. Seems pretty obvious oversight.
When you're in that suit, not only can you not see your feet, but you can't even bend at the waist. Am I right about that?
Now that you mention it, yeah.
It seems like it'd be awfully hard to push that dolly if you couldn't bend over.
Well, what's to stop you from simply pushing the dolly with your feet?
When you can't even see your feet? You really think someone could kick the dolly all that way?
Yeah, it'd be totally impossible! Not that I can say for sure myself.
On top of that, if you were wearing such a rigid, cumbersome suit, it's very unlikely you would have the dexterity to go about wrapping the body in a tarp.
Well, I mean, isn't that just a matter of taking off the suit when you're ready to move the body?
There's absolutely no chance that the costume was taken off by the body. You can't take it off by yourself.
I don't think taking off the suit was an option. If you remember...
I don't know what's up with this thing, but I can't actually get it off. A little help? Why would you make something that you can't take off by yourself? I didn't make the stupid freaking thing. There's a clasp on the back that's keeping you from getting it off. It looks pretty sturdy. I don't think you can get it off on your own. We don't really have a choice. Let's help him here.
That's true. It seems impossible to put the suit on or take it off without help.
Then, you really can't take it off by yourself? Hero wasn't just making it up?
Of course I wasn't making it up.
If he could have gotten it off by himself, I don't think he would have let us see him wearing it. Showing up in the suit was basically an invitation for everyone to suspect it.
Yeah, that's right!
So, it's really, really true that Robo-Justice couldn't have moved the dolly?
To be clear, whoever did move the body, it couldn't have been Hero in the robot suit, correct?
No, wait. Just a second, if you please. Have you forgotten about the picture that I took?
You keep
got a good
bringing
look at
this
it,
up?
did you not? The image of Hifumi being dragged away by Robo-Justice? If whoever was in that suit is not the culprit, how do you explain that? Besides, do you remember what the now deceased Hifumi said?
How did you get hurt? That guy hit me. What guy? Robo-Justice, or what I decided to call him just now.
So long as those facts exist, the proper conclusion is beyond question.
No, it's not! I just put it into question! Screw you! Liver nugget?
The individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same. It was Hero, without a doubt. Yeah.
Guys, don't let her
right.
talk you back into this! God!
Hold on a second!
It's still far too early to reach that conclusion. Besides, there's no hurry to decide who did it. Before we rush to a verdict, shouldn't we explore every single possibility?
I know, Christina! I don't care how nobody's coming to that conclusion! That we've come to the conclusion that she put him in the suit and took the picture.
Instead of seizing on one viewpoint, the truth is uncovered by analyzing things from every angle.
Perhaps, but where do we go from here?
Let's review this series of unfortunate events from the beginning. Maybe we'll uncover
This
something
series
new.
of unfortunate events! I love it! I'm betting that was unintentional, but I like the reference.
What a pain in the ass!
I don't disagree, but our lives are on the line. If this is what it takes, we have to do it.
Plus, maybe we'll get to find out where the heck Kyoko was when everything went down.
All right then, let's take another look back at what happened. I suppose we could start with this morning. 4 of us gathered together in the dining hall. Makoto, Hina, Kyoko, and myself. We waited there for quite a while, but nobody else showed up, so we went to look for everyone. That was around 8 a.m.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
I love how this is a good overview of the entire case.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and me.
It seems I was unconscious for about an hour after I was attacked by my mystery assailant. I know it was an hour because I remember being attacked a little after 7.
That was when we saw Celeste's picture and discovered that her assailant had been wearing a strange costume. As it turns out, it was Robo-Justice. It also soon became clear that this same Robo-Justice had abducted Hifumi. We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko, and then went on to find Hifumi in the library. He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the suspect. But not long after leaving the nurse's office...
This is getting so good! What's wrong? I saw Shadow! Something moving on the top of the stairs, especially because she's the one who kept moving us in different directions. This entire time we were placed in places because of this lady here, which is why you are my suspect. I think you did it.
When Celeste told us that, we decided to split up and search the second floor. And soon after that,
I saw someone moving around on the 3rd floor, and I yelled out to everyone as soon as I did.
Celeste, what's wrong? That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. Blah, blah, blah. We've already been through this. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm sorry.
and then...
all this dialogue has repeated
At that
so
point,
many
we
times.
decided to divide up into 2 groups. Celeste, Hina, and I went back to the nurse's office, while Sakura, Byakuya, and Toko chased after the suspect. When we got back to the nurse's office, we found Hifumi, dead. And that's when we heard the body discovery announcement. I left Celeste and Hina there and headed back to the 3rd floor to let the others know what had happened.
Meanwhile, we had just discovered Taka's body in the equipment room. We must have found both bodies at almost exactly the same time.
Which is again why I think only one body was actually dead and the other was not.
Because we heard the same announcement not long after we discovered his body.
And that's when I told you guys about Hifumi. Then the 3 of us headed for the nurse's office. But right after we left the physics lab, we ran into Celeste, who'd arrived after us. And she told us something very surprising. We rushed back to the nurse's office and saw that she was right.
Then we remembered we'd left Toko passed out in the equipment room, so we hurried back again. But when we got
So much
there,
of this has
we
been repeated
discovered
so many
that now
times.
Taka's body had also gone missing. Next
It's
thing we
wonderful
knew,
in case
we
you've
were searching
forgotten
the
something
school
along
for
the way,
2
but at the
missing
same time
dead
it's like, well,
bodies.
you really like repeating the same dialogue.
And after some time,
Celeste informed us that she'd found the bodies, and we all headed to the repository, which is where we rediscovered the corpses.
And again, I'm very amazed that Celeste was the one who discovered the bodies.
I think that about covers it.
I see. The whole thing sounds exceptionally complicated. It certainly seems to me that these are not a simple series of connected events.
Okay, well,
Correct,
if
my
that's
lovely
true,
lady.
then what?
Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to consider each murder a separate situation. And from there, we can uncover the contradictions surrounding all of them. Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka.
The contradictions hidden in what happened to Taka. In order to uncover the truth of this case, I have to find them no matter what.
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer while
I
Taka's
missed
death.
it!
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
I understood what I needed to do, but
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with just while Taka's death.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
it's not obvious, but I keep missing.
So, regarding I wonder if, or perhaps it was after. We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed while Taka's death.
I missed it!
So
That was
it's
my
obvious
bad.
Taka came after.
We'll try one more time.
So, regarding Taka's death,
I wonder if, or perhaps it was. We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
No, that's wrong. Hold on. There's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their numbers. If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order, but in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi? Okay then, let's see the proof.
Evidence that proves Taka was killed before Hifumi. I feel like there was something. Oh no, we're going into a Hangman's Gambit. I don't like this. Okay. It's obviously wristwatch. So that would be I. I would be the next letter. And then it would be S. And then T.
Understand?
I'm wonderful! My spelling isn't the greatest, but at least I got it.
I got it. Taka's wristwatch.
I'm so glad it was just wristwatch and I didn't have to think of how bad my spelling could be.
See? Look. It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
it must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night,
Hey, you! Hold on. I don't want to redo these lines. Sorry, guys!
so if it wasn't
Especially with
broken
guys'
after
voices,
6
they
last
hurt.
night, then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
That simple fact
This
slipped
is
past
why
all of
little
us.
tiny things can really screw up your plans.
We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
Everybody's a suspect.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder. But all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe. When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko. Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body. That's totally true! We're all in the clear!
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
If that's true, where's the tape?
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up!
I love these
we
people.
all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream. Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
Not exactly.
And it does not stop
Depends
there.
on when his time
There was
of death
also the
actually
moment
was.
when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget,
I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have grabbed Taka's body out of there right then!
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body. Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway. In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could have done those things.
So what now, Kyoko?
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing. And according to what Celeste said,
minute or two, yay.
his body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
Well, I'd say that you're weird and you're crazy, and I think I have had a better explanation.
What? How?
Unless your explanation is my
If
explanation.
the dead body were to move itself.
The dead body moved on its own?
No! Not another... ghost!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is, we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
I can believe that.
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
That it isn't possible.
The idea that Hifumi was still alive, is it really possible? Yes, it was totally possible. Make your argument. Well, I feel I gotta absorb something because I don't think any of those will help me in this.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead. And you know that surely you heard the body discovery and Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
But the body discovery announcement was only made once. That much I'm sure of.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
No, it's wrong!
Break!
Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if two bodies had been found, there really should have been two announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail.
He's like, I don't want to tell you that you're right.
But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy bum.
No, actually, that was plenty.
Huh?
He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time.
I like how he's
Which
catching my
means,
drifts.
even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
Second body discovery announcement. The first time it played was when we found each body in the nurse's office and equipment room. And the second time was when both bodies were rediscovered.
We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the two bodies.
Ding dong, ding dong. Body has been discovered. Yeah.
It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
Then in reality, when the two dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom! No, crazy.
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
I can definitely prove he was still alive! Watch me work!
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body. Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
Celeste, you're just making yourself more and more into being the person who did this. There has to be proof that shows Hifumi was alive. I have to find it and show it to everyone. Make your argument. It's his glasses, obviously.
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned...
Shoot!
I shouldn't have done that. That was my
Well,
bad.
here's one thing we do know. The first time we found him, and then his body
And the next time we saw his body, it was in...
But when you compare his body before, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
Then, was he really still alive?
Of course not. It is impossible. This is ridiculous. Well, here's one thing. The first time we found him, and then his body
And the next time we saw him, it was in the...
But when you compare his body before being, other than the change in how, there was no notable difference.
Then, was he really still alive?
Of course not. It is impossible. This is ridiculous.
I pressed the wrong button. This tells you guys I've never played this series before.
The first time we found
I don't know my controls.
His body
And the next time, it was in...
But when you compare his body before, other than the change in how it was, there was no notable difference.
No, it's wrong! In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
Evidence can found in the trash can.
I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
Ah, I love logic coming together in the morning.
It was Princess Piggles from Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
I love you, Byakuya.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
And it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
Yes, it does. I love you, Kyoko. You bring my logic to life.
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere! But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done! God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
I got it! It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked?
Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
Mystery after mystery just goes falling like a pair of dominoes.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside. Which means, when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
I love how smug she looks in that art.
There's more?
Yes, there's obviously more.
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
The thing Hifumi stole from Taka.
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
I found a hole maybe we can use to escape. Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the equipment room at 6 a.m.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now.
I know!
Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro, and that person could only have been... I got it! That's right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection!
What the hell?
I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
There's two of them.
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Ugh! Yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Man, Genocide Jack is seriously scary, but still, I can't let her get to me. Oh, why are there 5?
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
No, that's wrong! No! There absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. You've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that... No further objections!
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
He stole it?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
I'm waiting, you son of a douche!
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is...
The same!
I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap.
Dun dun dun!
Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super
Dude,
involved in
don't
this
try to
whole
get
thing,
involved
for
in
sure.
this! Don't try to
In
talk!
fact, he was behind the whole thing! In fact, he's still alive!
He's not, you idiot! We've already proven he's dead!
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead.
We're at least on the verge of
The
it.
second body discovery announcement proves that.
Which happened early because he was still alive after that, you stupid bear!
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository, so he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Who are you calling a walrus?
I love how these two fight.
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours.
Burn from Byakuya!
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue. So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
I know what was used! The weapon that was actually used to kill Hifumi. The whole picture surrounding this case won't become clear till we figure that out. Somehow I have to find the truth. The spotless hammer! Someone gotta clean up that crap! Okay, at least there's only 3 this time.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Well, one thing seems
You're
pretty
pretty crazy!
The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers!
No, that's wrong.
I have you wrong! I got you wrong!
The murder weapon wasn't a Justice Hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean. And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used the hammer to kill him.
Whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him. Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous.
We did talk about how there wouldn't be any reason for anyone to work together. At least that's what we thought at first, but...
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that 2 people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were 2 murders.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply
No, that's wrong! Since there were 2 murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
Dun dun dun!
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime, and based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look.
Dun dun
A
dun!
single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
You think
I
so?
don't know.
I can't help but admire its cunning.
Byakuya,
Still,
shut up!
their choice of accomplice seems odd.
Kyoko must have noticed that fact from the very beginning, which is why she said not to look at this as a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing, although, when you think about it, she's almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at
I
this.
understand how an accomplice could be involved. But then, who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now.
This debate up till now, the way this case is unfolded, when you consider all of that, it had to be Celeste. There's really only one person that seems fit.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
So I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit from brains, that lazy, worthless goddamn idiot!
I love how she just loses it.
Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
What is it that only Hifumi encountering a suspicious individual?
The
what
behavior
they had
they
in
have in
common.
common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
Screw you!
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
Things that I'm
We
not
headed
repeating.
to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said? Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
the series of
It
events
was
just
to get
keeps
us to
replaying
divide
itself.
into 2 groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Into 2 even groups of 3.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that piercing cry of yours early on. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor. Everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I love you, Byakuya. You're wonderful. Your personality needs a lot of work, but you're wonderful.
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead, Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything. The whole thing was one big act.
Yeah?
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed.
Yes, it
Wouldn't
does.
you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed, so Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the 4 of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Oh, you lovely poor girl.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Da-da-da. Byakuya said Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. But what is he alluding to? I don't know. I feel like Celeste's account can kind of get thrown out the window at this point.
All I said was... They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it?
Oh, wait,
what
I
was
don't
so
think that's the right
strange
way.
about Celeste's comment?
Yep, I got it. Thank you so much.
All I said was... They must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all
Damn
I
it, I
said.
gotta get it again. I missed
And
it!
that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it, what was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Alright, we gotta do this one more time! Hopefully we'll hit it right this time.
All I said was they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys.
No, that's wrong.
Rick?
That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You evil!
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations?
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
Well, for one, how does someone like that not see you right in front of him taking a photo?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on. And then she used the...
Have you said
Dude,
this
you were
before?
drugged.
You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away.
I don't think so.
If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Other explanations? If it wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away, the only other possibility is Hifumi is dragging the suspect away.
It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what
I think
happened!
we're nearing the
You
end.
put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Evil witch!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Celeste thinks she can prove that there's no way Hifumi was dragging the suspect away. But is that really possible? Make your argument. I need the Robo costume. Robo Justice costume.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight. You tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
No, that's wrong.
That's the entire point of the suit. You have to stand up straight.
No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that. Because that Robo Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate? Celeste? Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem. Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
She's lost it!
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Right! But my name isn't
She's
really
really-
Hiro! It's actually Taro!
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
I got it! That's
You
right!
said people's
Our
last
last
names!
names! He called us all by our last names!
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name.
Your real name, lady!
Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No, there's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal.
I love you, Kyoko. You just keep everything on track.
But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Who knows?
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply, and that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit! Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you?
At this moment, yes, you do. Nice to meet you, loser!
Well, do I? What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Celeste still won't give up, so then I have to do something and make her accept it. Make your argument. It's the e-handbook, obviously.
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name.
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is... Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
How long
She's
do you
losing
plan
it.
to go on pretending?
I pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me...
No,
Whip!
that's it! The handbook!
What?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
I'm going to own you, lady!
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Then you're saying you're guilty right
Celeste,
now.
can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because...
Some of the times I think that they really didn't have an idea what to do for dialogue.
Until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes. And that'll bring everything to an end.
This'll be horrible. I have a horrible feeling about this. Okay, so... okay, the next one's gotta be... no, let me grab it. And then... no. Okay, Yasuhiro. Then... camera. Have to be the watch, right? Because that's the time he was killed. I love how they're trying to throw all these fakes at me, and I'm just like, damn it! Just let me have my time. And the one that killed him was hammer number 4, right? It's not that hammer. This hammer. I think. And then that's hammer number 3. Pushing the cart. And he's been a good boy. And then that would be this way, right? Check. Yes. Alright, I think that's everything.
Here's exactly what happened.
I don't see why this would be wrong.
Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit.
I don't think I'm wrong yet!
Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan.
I'm still
They
not
called
happy that you
Taka
killed
to the
Taka!
equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims, to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1, and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack
I think
story.
I'm doing okay.
The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2 and an injured Hifumi to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found.
This doesn't look wonderful, Celeste!
Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office, and once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room.
I do like the comic book style of re-showing this stuff.
He grabbed Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is...
It's you! You liver noggin!
Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
Complete!
I lost? I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you.
trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg. Actually, no. Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Taiko?
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
Oh. Hey!
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or, no. I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote. Okay.
She made it that I don't
Okay.
feel sad about this, but at the same time I'm like, I don't feel sad because you made this happen for money!
If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
Thanks for that, Monokuma. It still looks horrible every single time. It's basically a formality at this point, but once again, you're totally correct. The blackened this time, the true killer who devised the whole stinking scheme was... Celestia Ludenberg, or more precisely, Taiko Yasuhiro!
Honestly.
I lost. Well, that sucks. I guess trying to work with someone else was a mistake after all. Hifumi's ineptitude was beyond all my calculations.
I knew it.
So you really did approach Hifumi with this plan. But how'd you get him to agree? I can't imagine he would have happily agreed to commit murder. I'm sure she relied on her specialty, lying. My specialty? Don't make me laugh. I don't have to lie to get him to agree.
So then,
Then what did you use? You know? I knew you'd figure it out, Kyoko. You're absolutely right. To get Hifumi to act as my accomplice,
Indeed.
I used her. For everyone who's still left, I'll avoid mentioning it by name, but it was the one thing Hifumi and Taka were both super into. Does she mean... is she talking about alter ego?
Say what?
What? What are you talking about?
just a second.
Don't interrupt. We're in the middle of a very important conversation here. I'm totally out of the loop. As usual, how sad.
In other words,
Then you're the one who stole it.
Indeed.
That's right.
I see.
And you used it to drag Hifumi into the plan you'd come up with. Right again? Last night after we had our meeting about how it disappeared, I paid Hifumi a little visit. So what are you doing here?
Actually,
I was hoping I could talk to you, alone. It is about what was stolen. I know who did it.
What?
What?
are you okay with
It
this?
was Taka. He stole it. You didn't even think that it wasn't Taka, you idiot.
So then...
And I have proof. Would you like to see it? As it turned out, I had found a use for the digital camera. I had taken you-know-what to Taka's room earlier and took pictures of it there. I deleted the picture as soon as I'd shown it to Hifumi, of course.
Damnation!
So it was him! But how did he do it? She was supposed to yell if either of us got close to her. You're correct, which is why Taka forced me to steal it.
Say what?
What?
As for me...
Please forgive me. He threatened me. He did?
As for me...
He came to my room last night unannounced, and it's hard for me to even say. He abused me.
What?
And he took pictures. He said if I did not do as he asked, he would show them to everyone. So I had no choice.
Damnation!
That's a crime! An absolute crime! I knew he'd gotten a little crazy, but...
Say what?
I never imagined he would go that far! It was amazing how he completely bought it. I can't express how enjoyable that was. I'm about to say something I've never said before in my life. I'm gonna kill him! I'm gonna fucking kill him!
Most unfortunate.
Wait, please. If you go now, you will only be playing right into his hands. Huh?
Actually,
Taka is planning to use her to escape. He has made you his target.
What?
Escape? You don't mean... Taka is going to try to kill you.
What?
indeed.
And also he can keep her to himself. That bastard! Bastard!
Honestly,
Can we allow him to continue with these barbaric acts? Absolutely not, how could I? She...
I swear!
I have to save her!
actually,
Then, would you like to join me? I just so happen I have come up with a plan. Huh? I have devised a way to reclaim what he has stolen and escape this dreadful school. And with that, it is complete. What are you talking about? Oh, nothing. Hifumi agreed without second thought. The effect that item had on him was remarkable. The power of love, even a love as twisted as that, can still drive people mad, it would seem. You disgust me.
I see.
I have another question for you. Was that strange costume Hifumi's creation?
indeed.
Yes. It was a real pain in the butt, too. All I asked him to do was make something to hide the face and general body size. I had no idea he'd make something like that, but it's my fault for picking him in the first place.
But...
So why'd you decide to make me the suspect? Because you're stupid. That's it.
Let's see.
And in that regard, I made the right choice. I'm so glad your stupidity surpassed my every expectation. Life must have been tough for your parents, though. I feel I could cry.
Well,
But when you were explaining your plan to Hifumi, how did you explain the part about him playing dead? What she's asking is, what was Hifumi supposed to do after that, assuming you'd actually let him live?
Are you okay with this?
That's simple. After he did his part and pretended to be dead, once someone showed up, I told him to say he'd been seriously wounded. He was on the verge of death, but he'd barely held on. And he just really believed that? Well, of course. That wasn't all there was to it. As I explained to Hifumi, the plan was, while you were all questioning him about what had happened to him, I was going to murder someone else. At that point, Hifumi would have an alibi, so nobody could doubt him. I told him that, and he believed him. It seems very straightforward, stereotypical. It just matched a lie on the lovely opponent. In fact, Hifumi ate it up. He believed the whole lie wholeheartedly, right up until the moment of his death.
so in the end,
So you planned to kill him all along. But of course, there would have been no point in my plan if one who pretended to be dead did not end up dead himself.
What the heck?
How can a human life mean so little to you?
Well,
That's a non-issue. I simply did everything within my power to win.
Don't be mean!
Now you sound like Byakuya.
I wonder about
No,
that.
he derives his pleasure from the thrill of the hunt. In that aspect, we are nothing alike.
Why?
Then, what made you take things this far?
What the heck?
Was it really just for money? Are you talking about the $10 million Monokuma offered us? That is a lot of money, that's true. But that's not all there is to it. From the moment our new life began here, my only thought has been escape.
But
all along you've been saying how we need to accept life living here.
You little bitch!
Obviously that was a lie!
Hey!
I couldn't take it. I hated it from day one. More than anyone else in here.
You little
I
bitch!
wanted to get out. Every day was fresh torture. And do you want to know why, huh?
This is fine.
Because I had a dream. And accepting a life here would have meant nothing less than giving up on my dream forever.
Honestly.
And there was no way I could ever do that. In the underground world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killing.
As for me,
And it was all for that dream. And what was this dream of
isn't
yours?
it wonderful?
To live in a European castle. A castle? And gather handsome men from all over the world to serve as my butlers/bodyguards. I was going to make them dress up like vampires and satisfy my every need. Once I obtained that, I would have created a perfectly aesthetic world of decadence.
This is fine.
Living the rest of my life there would have been the only dream, my only goal. That's what life is all about. my own winnings, Monokuma's $10 million would have made that dream a reality. I got right to the edge,
There
but
is nothing to be done.
unfortunately my dream has been scattered to the wind. Still, I don't have any regrets. I pursued my dream to the very end, so why would I?
Just the worst.
You sound so passionate, but you were really able to kill your own friends for it?
Oh,
Are you asking me to feel guilty? That's a pointless endeavor. I think nothing of sacrificing others for my own ends. I feel nothing.
do you understand?
That's all there is to me. That's what makes me complete. Isn't it terrifying how different our values are? There's simply no room for understanding.
What is this?
That's what we should be saying. And plus, how can you be so calm? Don't you realize you're about to die? Why aren't you scared? My ability to lie is unraveled, and I take pride in that. It's not just other people. I can even fool my own emotions. The conscious deceives the unconsciousness. And that's why you're not scared?
Yes, indeed.
That's right. I don't feel death. Kill me however you like. But you know, if I could be reincarnated, if I had a choice
Isn't
then,
it wonderful?
I think I would like to come back as Marie Antoinette.
Hey.
You'd just get executed again. Celeste smiled then, and when she did, it looked to me like a poor effort to force it. She claimed she could fool her own feelings, but that statement itself must have been her final lie. And for that weak fake smile is what betrayed her.
Thrills! Chills!
Okay then, let's get rolling! The black and disturb the peace, and they must pay the price!
Now then, I prepared a very special punishment.
For her, the ultimate gambler!
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
Punishment! 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 I'm feeling happy, but I know I'm gonna be disturbed by this no matter what it is.
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this. What? Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way. Which is why... Actually, it's not important. Well then... Take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again. In another life.
This is sad. It's like the fact that she's taken down her borders and I'm getting to see some of her real self. This is so bad. This is sad. I don't want these characters to die. Game over. Celeste has been found guilty. Time for the punishment. That's creepily disturbing. Oh dear God. The burning of... Oh my God. What the hell? What is this? Oh. Okay. What the fudge? Sickle. What the fudge sickle was that? It's over. The third execution is over. Celeste's death is over. Celeste killed my friend, so I can't pity her, but I also can't deny that at one point I considered her a friend too. And for him to just come along and... Isn't it just awful? Someone couldn't cut free of their own regrets from the outside world, and so more people had to die.
Extreme!
You guys are still young! You need a piece place more value on your lives.
What are you gonna do?
I thought you guys were gonna pass the torch of hope to the next generation.
Let me out
What
of
do I
here!
care about hope? I'll throw it in the trash if you just let me out of here.
Too bad.
You're all the embodiment of hope, whether you like it or not. And it's my destiny to knock down you down one by one. It's sad, yes it is, but that's reality. Just can't be avoided. Don't talk like you're not responsible. How long are you gonna keep going through this? What do you want from us? Sorry? God, I'm so sick of people asking me that. Give it a rest already. So anyway, Kyoko, did I see you get some kind of key-type object from Celeste?
Hey!
So what's the deal with that? What's the matter?
So then,
I'll answer your question if you answer mine. What did you do? What did you do to me?
Ooh.
What?
hey,
Answer me. What did you do to my body?
Ooh.
Oh man! Oh jeez! Oh man! Oh jeez! What do you mean? What did I do? I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. Does that mean someone kidnapped Kyoko during all this? What was that just now? The mastermind did something to Kyoko's body? What does that mean? Okay, things are getting kind of awkward. I think it's about time I got out of here.
Well?
Meanwhile, you guys can go about enjoying your school life. If you get lonely, give me a shout. Not that I'll do anything about it, of course.
See ya later.
See ya! Monokuma disappeared, leaving us all depressed and in despair. Although, it wasn't all despair. There was one small hope. Hey, Kyoko, Monokuma already mentioned it, but what's that key that Celeste gave you? Most likely, it's the key to one of the dressing room lockers.
Huh?
What? Then that means Celeste probably hid it in there.
Hey,
I suppose sometimes it's easiest to miss what's right beneath your nose. Well then, we better go check.
Indeed.
Good idea. We left the courtroom and rushed to the dressing room. As we approached the dressing room, Kyoko looked back at us and said, I'm going to go alone from here. Everyone else head to the dining hall and I'll check in with you later.
What?
Why? Exactly are you going alone?
So,
Do you even have to ask? As she spoke, she glanced quickly at the surveillance cameras.
Come on.
That's not what I mean. Why you? There's still a risk of a spy, you know. ... Then I'll go too.
What?
You? Please let me go. Standing here arguing is just gonna draw more attention to us.
Goodbye.
Do whatever you want. Thank you, Byakuya.
well then.
Then, it's up to you now.
Yo!
I'm gonna go to the dining hall, okay? Huh? So Makoto and Kyoko are going alone? Together? Oh! Asahina, what the? Hold on a second, guys. I gotta go really quick. Alrighty, sorry about that. Does that mean what I think it means? I don't know. What do you think it's meaning?
Okay.
Good luck, Makoto. Girls like her are total pushovers when you show a little backbone. I tried to forget what Hina said. Everyone headed to the dining hall, leaving me and Kyoko there alone.
shall we go?
Well, shall we? Yeah.
So then,
We need to get into that locker. Kyoko took the key Celeste had given her and unlocked the locker. As the locker swung open, we saw...
You really came.
Good morning! It's been a while, hasn't it? It's safe. Thank goodness. I'd never heard Kyoko sound so relieved. It was like she was speaking from the bottom of her heart. I did just what Celeste asked. I didn't say a word. I stayed quiet the entire time.
So,
Oh, and I think I might be able to open the last set of files soon. Maybe as early as tomorrow. I'm doing my best, so please wait just a little while longer. So now we can officially say the case is closed. As far as this incident is concerned, sure, but can we talk a second? Take a second? Since we have this opportunity, I want you to be honest with me. Kyoko, please tell me, what are you trying to do all on your own here at the school? Is that why you wanted to come here with me?
However,
Regardless, it's not something you need to know right now. I don't need to know? That just makes me even more worried.
what?
Worried? Like what happened during the investigation this time. You disappeared and we didn't see you. Without warning, without explanation. When you do that,
Indeed.
it's only natural they think I'm the mastermind spy, right? And you too? No. I believe in you.
What?
You believe in me? Isn't it obvious? People believe in their friends, right? That's why I want you to tell me. And I want you to believe in me too. Because we're friends. I understand.
It's true.
Then maybe I can believe in you. Just a little bit more. Then,
That's fine.
fine, I'll tell you. I'll tell you why I've been disappearing and where I've been going. You see, what I heard from Kyoko then was, well, frankly, it kind of blew my mind. Right after I told Kyoko I believed in her, she told me a story that was, well, almost unbelievable. I decided I had to confirm what she told me with my own two eyes, so I waited for nighttime to come. And when it did, I went into action. ...
Correct.
The boys' bathroom on the second floor doesn't have surveillance camera or monitor in it. And in the storage closet there, way in the back... She said it was way in the back of the boys' bathroom storage closet, but could Kyoko really be right about this? Isn't there a security camera, though, out here that would have caught you going into it? It's just a normal storage closet as far as I can see. The secret Kyoko told me about, could it really be hidden here? She said it was in the way back of the storage closet. But I mean, seriously? Without thinking, I placed my hand on the back of the storage closet, and suddenly, as if I was being yanked in... At the same time I heard that sound, I fell through the wall. I had no idea what was going on. I had fallen through the back of the storage closet. Huh? It turned out, the back wall was like a revolving door, and I'd made my way to the other side, just like Kyoko had said.
Correct.
In the boys' bathroom on the second floor, there's a storage closet, and in the way back to the closet, there's a secret room. So this is the secret room. But what's in here? There's a bunch of files and what looks like a volume after volume of yearbooks. They're all covered in dust. Looking at everything, one file on the edge of the bookshelf caught my eye. Hope's Peak Academy Student Registry? This is the only thing here not covered in dust. Has someone been looking at it recently? I slipped the file into my hand, but before I had a chance to take a look at it, a slip of paper fell out of the file and I turned my attention to it. What is this? What's this? You must not leave. That's kind of weird. I could understand if it said, like, I can't leave or you must not, but you must not leave? What is this? My head feels funny. This strange sensation, it's like deja vu. These words, you must not leave. I've seen them somewhere before, but I can't quite remember. What do I know? What don't I know? Oh, God! A strange sound rang through my head. It felt like it was shrinking my brain back, shaking my brain back and forth. And then... darkness. Darkness! I don't understand what's happening. I don't know what started it. It's all over. And with that, I open my eyes. I don't know how long it's been. Ugh. Ow. Apparently something hit me and I lost consciousness. That's all I understood. The dull throbbing pain in my head proved that much at least. An empty bookshelf. Huh? Empty. Gone. It's all gone. The yearbooks, the student registry, and even the note that had fallen to the floor. It's all gone. What does this mean? But my brain refused to do any more work. In an instant, the pain in my head began to spread across the rest of my body. For now, I should go back to my room, get some rest. My body was heavy with pain, my mind heavy with thought. I dragged myself back towards my room. Somehow I made it to the first floor of the school. Ugh. The further I walked, the more I felt. Things are getting blurry, can't see in front of me. I couldn't stop myself from collapsing right there. After that... As from the vast distance I heard a sound. It was faint but undeniable. That sound, it's coming from the gym? As I desperately hauled my shaky frame towards the gym, the sound got stronger and stronger. What's going on? It can't be nothing. Here in the gym? I didn't make a sound as I opened the door to the gym. The sound coming from inside, meanwhile, only intensified that much more. Before me, there was a ragged battle beyond anything humanly possible. No side not human, that's for sure. Regardless, I couldn't stop staring. I forgot to move or even breathe.
Why, you? What do you think you're doing? I asked you a question. What's the meaning of this? How dare you defy me? This wasn't part of the deal!
Oh my god. Sakura as the spy?
I've made a decision. I will no longer retreat. No longer compromise. No longer regret. I've made my decision. I'm going to resist you.
Okay, but you do realize what will happen if you go through with this, right? You haven't forgotten, have you? What I'm holding hostage?
What am I looking at? What am I hearing? A hostage? Then could it be the mastermind spy is... We're down to 7! I don't think I can get 6 people out. Yes? Okay, everybody, that's going to be it. I am going to end this stream right here. And we're going to head off to bed. I will try to stream tomorrow at as soon as I can. Probably it's not going to be till noon because I do have to go to my mother's house in the morning. But thank you all for joining me here. I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye, everyone.